I want to reference a number of things I said in weeks prior. We spoke about Manchester City extensively in the previous episodes. I told you about how their pressing is not really intense. They still maintain that high line. So there was this particular, I showed you clips from the Brighton game, I showed you clips from the Fulham game, the Newcastle game, Tottenham game, where centre-backs were hitting long diagonal passes in between the Man City centre-back and the full-back, making and putting players in between those spaces, causing Manchester City a lot of trouble. And Man United did that. Last week also, I came here, I spoke, 2 weeks ago, when we saw the mistakes that United were pouncing on. I said they were not mistakes. I told you about how their pressing shape was forcing teams into making certain passes. United were triggering the press and winning the ball high up. And we saw 2 of those play in the 2 goals that Man United scored. So we'll look at the penalty incident. Now, this is Man United's pressing shape here. There's Menu on the ball. Zegzi is watching Nunez. You have Ugarte watching his man. Ahmad is on his man. Now, when play progresses, you look at how they are basically shadow marking the space. And once Nunez receives this ball, Zegzi is making that run. Nunez can't play the pass this way because Menu is watching. If he tries to play it through, Zegzi can easily intercept. So they forced him back. Now, this is what I like about this posture. As soon as he makes the movement that he's going to pass the ball back, look at Ahmad's starting position. Yeah. And that is similar to what we saw against Everton, similar to what we saw Højlund do against Bodo Glimt. As soon as the player makes that intention to pass back, the United player has the body language and alertness to pounce on the ball. So, unfortunately for City, it's an underhit pass and Ahmad pounces. But these are recurring themes that are happening under Ruben Amorim's Man United that you can't put down on one player's smartness. This is clearly coaching. So I will reference you to a Sporting Lisbon game played earlier this season. This was Sporting Lisbon against Benfica. Very similar. This is the Sporting man on his man, marking these 2 players so the pass can't come through. Yeah. This guy is watching. He's already on the goalkeeper. So as soon as the centre-back receives the ball here, as soon as he receives the ball, he's already on his man. His body position, the Benfica is in red. His body position won't allow him to turn because there will be not too much space for him to do that. So he's going to force himself back. And once he receives the ball, the Sporting player pounces on him. He wins it high up. This ends up in a goal for Sporting Lisbon. So we can see the clear-cut instruction from Ruben Amorim and his Man United team. And that's how we saw United win the penalty against Manchester City. Yeah. Look at the Ahmad goal again. And this is a combination of things we've said on this show before. First of all, how teams put players in between the Manchester City centre-back and full-back and hits those diagonal balls. That is one. Secondly, how Manchester City's pressing has dropped and how the intensity of their pressing has dropped. So I was watching this, and let's just pay attention to Bernardo Silva. Somebody who over the years we know is probably City's pressing machine. So ball is played back to Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes gives it to Lisandro Martinez. And watch Bernardo Silva. He starts retreating. But he starts retreating, the Manchester City high line is still there. So what do Man United do? Let me slightly play it. Let me pause it here. Ahmad is going to make this run in between the 2 centre-backs. You have Menu occupying Diallo. So Diallo's vision is seeing Menu. His back is turned to Ahmad. In his head, Nunez has Ahmad under control. And nobody is picking up Lisandro Martinez. So Lisandro Martinez has the time to walk, take his time, look at who is making the run, and hit it there. Play progresses. And now it's Phil Foden who is trying to close him down. But by that time, look at the body language of Ahmad. He's already taken off. And where is he making the run? He's making it in between the Manchester City fullback and the centre-back in Diallo. So Diallo, the centre-back, doesn't see him. Diaz is looking at Zegzi. Diallo is down here occupying Kyle Walker. So once that long ball goes through, Nunez loses his man. Diallo is supposed to be picking him up, but again, recurring loss of poor communication for Manchester City, and he ends up in a goal. So these are things that we have discussed over and over and over and over again. We've highlighted over and over and over again, and they played out in the two Man United goals.
Yeah, and when we look at the way City defended in the Ahmad goal, so yeah, that is it. If we played on now, as the ball goes to Lisandro Martinez, right? At this point, City's shape is not terrible. It's just the application that he has mentioned. It's just the energy and the willingness to do a lot more, because if you look at the number of bodies they've got in the area where the ball is, when the City defend, City are always concentrated in the area where the ball is, so that when they win the ball, they can easily manipulate short, quick passes and get away. So they've got players all around the place. And if you progress, you see how even close they get. But something is missing. Look, so at this point, all right, so at this point, good. Even at this point, you've got them in this space. But the point is, City of last season would have been closer. You would have had Phil Foden looking to get closer. You have Bernardo Silva pushing high and then asking his man here to get closer. But what you see them doing is standing off a little bit.
Yeah.
And once you stand off, you're giving Lisandro Martinez actually just stepping on the ball.
Why is that? Why are they not pressing the player with the ball and rather going back?
I think it's a matter of confidence issue. It's also a matter of legs. Because we are looking at, if you look at the time of the game, it's in the 89th minute. Their legs are gone, they are not any younger, and so they are not pressing. But Jack Grealish is actually indicating to his man here, which is Nunez, Matheus Nunes.
Yeah.
He should keep an eye on this man. So if you look at Jack Grealish here, this is Jack Grealish.
He turns
and it's indicating to him that, look, watch your man.
Yeah.
But if you look at his eye view, he's looking at the man with the ball. He's looking at the man with the ball. And that is what he's looking at. But Grealish is indicating that, look at Amad Diallo. Amad Diallo's run is brilliant because he steps forward towards his own half, then he quickly darts. Now, Nunes is late before he starts running, but Amad Diallo is already accelerating. Nunes is now going to chase him. And what happens is Nunes stops. And at the time he's stopping, he's not handing him over to Vardy because Vardy even doesn't see it early.
Yeah.
Right? And Nunes stops. I'm thinking Nunes has to go toe-to-toe with his man, but he doesn't do so. So there you see him. Right there, he stops here. He doesn't have to stop. He's got to be here. He's got to be somewhere here around him. Now, all of a sudden, there's a big separation between him and Ahmad. Ahmad has the opportunity to get in behind the defense, and credit to Ahmad because he has a wonderful touch.
Yeah, super.
And at this point, I'm thinking...
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Once you got that touch, do you think that there was a chance for any Man City player to get that ball off the line? The line?
I think Vardy should have. I think Vardy should be throwing himself to kick the ball rather than trying to backheel it.
Yeah. More like a slide.
Yeah, slide to clear it rather than trying to backheel. Because if you backheel that ball, it's going to come into an area where you're not sure who is going to pounce on. So if he makes an attempt to throw himself and clear the ball, it's a lot better. He tries to backheel it, it doesn't work. But this is something Dani has always said. Throughout the whole season, we've highlighted it. City can't press the ball, they can't put pressure on the ball. And if you cannot put pressure on the ball, then you're at risk of getting bodies in behind your high line. And that was a perfect example.
Last question for you guys. He made two bold decisions in dropping both Garnacho and Martial. Sorry, and Rashford. How does, from everything that you analyze right now, how does either of those players impede this sort of football?
For me, is a willingness to press.
Yeah.
What the Ahmad penalty incident, for example, Rashford in particular
would not have done it.
Is very poor off the ball. And we saw it in the game against Victoria Police. In fact, we predicted that based on that performance, he probably wouldn't play against Manchester City. Although offensively, we were talking on Thursday and we felt that his runs in behind would be useful. But United were going to try and sit and keep it compact. And because of that discipline and defensive work ethic, he just didn't have it. And the fact that he didn't even make the bench just tells you that Amorim just knew he wasn't even going to be an option.
He wasn't even going to be an option.